Cowabunga, dude. It is AP, and I am joined today with
Michelle,
who is a third-time guest, the movie Maven herself. Today we're going to talk about the movie
Sorcerer,
which is an incredible movie. We talk about things like coercion, the loss of status, and of course, we talk about the director,
William Friedkin.
who is in fact a little bit of a Friedkin. And so are we here at Dove Weather, where you can listen to all the good stuff everywhere that you have good podcasts. Please give us a like, a follow, and you know what? Give us a comment. Let us know what you think about the episode. Thank you so much for listening. Is there like a inverse relationship of like the size of the truck and how much you want to drive it?
I do not want to drive a larger car. No.
So like no 18-wheelers for you.
Oh, I don't think so.
Optimus Prime off the table.
Yeah, Optimus is going to have to do the driving himself.
You will be the passenger princess for Optimus Prime.
That's damn right.
I'll be in the cab eating some Cheez-Its. And yeah, wiping my dirty hands on Optimus Prime sheets. Yeah, I'm going to do that.
What's Optimus going to do about it?
Yeah, what is he going to do? It's not like if he could like and then like kick me out or something.
Well, I don't know if I would be kicked out or just smashed within him. I don't know about the process of that.
You think it's a capital punishment for Optimus Prime to if I wipe my dirty cheesy fingers on his like bed sheets?
I don't know what are the big pet peeves of Optimus Prime.
I think Optimus Prime would be chill with me wiping pretty much anything on his sheets as long as I wash them.
Okay.
You know, like they couldn't possibly be metal sheets. They have to be like cloth, right? So like someone has to wash them. And that's going to be me. I'm going to dirty them up and I'm going to wash them.
You expect to give back to your host.
I'm a good guest. I'm a good guest, but I am also a good host, a good podcast host. It is AP, your dove. Ooh, flying. I'm flying directly into your ears, listener. And today I am met with a good guest and host because I am at her home right now. Today I am met with a dynamo, a lightning strike. Oh, when they say that the pen is mightier than the sword, they're saying her pen. They're saying, oh, this ballpoint pen is the sword that she wields. Because she is a writer, because she is a former reporter, because you know what? If you need some cutting words, you call her up. Today I am met with a 3-time guest, the triple crown of podcasting. Today I'm met with Michelle. Good to have you back on, Michelle.
I'm always happy to be here. These are such kind words for a borderline inactive film critic.
Yeah, I mean, but like as long as you're on the correct side of the border. Today, you know, we talk about Optimus Prime because, you know, that's a good guy truck. Today we're going to talk about 2 maybe bad guy trucks. And we're not talking Decepticon.
We are not.
What are we talking about today?
We are talking about William Friedkin's 1977 film Sorcerer.
Ooh. And Sorcerer has this background. Sorcerer is kind of known as this epic that was outshined by Star Wars.
Yes, it was released around the same time as Star Wars, and it's directed by William Friedkin, who earlier in the 70s had directed 2 massive hits, The French Connection and The Exorcist, and who expected to be able to do this again with another very bleak but entertaining movie, and found that this one was too bleak for general audiences. Not to mention its timing really hurt it. I think its title also likely hurt it. A lot of people expected some sort of a supernatural movie and got this weird, bleak movie about a bunch of guys ruining their lives and being forced to drive a very dangerous trek.
Yeah. Which is some of the stuff that we're going to talk about. This movie is really about the loss of status. It's about coercion. It's about how bad oil is for the self and for the environment. And Friedkin is out here using every single technique that he has in his disposal to make sure that those themes are hit. And you know what, listener? I'm gonna tell you up top. Michelle calls this bleak, but I was pumping my fist through this. I was just like, yeah, kill that guy. And also like seeing this like rainy stuff. Like there's a whole bunch of stuff that it just made me, just as a movie loving fella. They call me the FLF. I just loved it. I loved it. And I sincerely encourage you, listener, to watch Sorcerer.
Yeah, I do too. It is a very intense movie and it is a very bleak movie, but I find it pretty entertaining. You will see some of the most spectacular stunts ever put on film, / the most dangerous stunts ever put on film. And
the most dangerous stunts. The most dangerous game, filmmaking. And so there's a reason why I wanted to call you up. Well, one, because you're the Movie Maven.
Oh, you're so kind.
And I'm sure that you have some lore that I could not figure out, because as mid fist pumping of watching this movie, all I could think of is just I love the themes in this. I'm a theme freak. I'm a theme freaklin. And this movie's jam-packed with it. So let's kind of jump into the thing I want to talk about the most.
Should we give people an overview basically of what this movie is about? So, Sorcerer, it's a remake of a 1953 French movie called The Wages of Fear, which is about 4 men who are hired by an oil company in an unnamed South American country to drive dynamite through a jungle and through the mountains to put out an oil fire. But the dynamite has been improperly stored, so the nitroglycerin has leaked, and the slightest bump or push will cause it to explode, and no more drivers, no more trucks.
Ooh, and Dove Weather, we're anti-truck, so we like to see an explosion on a truck together.
Yes, in Sorcerer, the 4 drivers are all people who have come to be in exile for one reason or another. We have a New Jersey crook played by Roy Scheider,
who looks incredible in this. Throughout it, I'm just like, oye, papi, what you doing?
This is a couple of years after he had done Jaws. He had previously worked with Friedkin on The French Connection. And he is someone who, in the course of a robbery, one of his companions shoots a priest who happens to be the brother of the head of the New Jersey Mafia. So Scheider has to get out of Dodge. There's another character who is a hitman who comes to the town under mysterious circumstances.
Who's Mexican?
Yes, he is.
La Raza, what's up?
Played by the Spanish actor Francisco Rabal. Then there is a French banker who is being accused of fraud, who goes on the run after his brother-in-law and business partner commits suicide.
His name is Victor in the movie, but his name is so funny. His name is Bruno Creamer. This is my son, Bruno Creamer.
I think it would be pronounced Cremer, but yes.
Well, I mean, I'm not on this side of the tracks.
And there's another character who is a Palestinian militant who, when his compatriots are caught by the IDF, he has to go on the run.
Who's also incredibly handsome in this. I swear, like if the four main dudes, they have a certain like level of attraction that I'm just like, okay. I think the French guy is the lowest one in the rung. I think Qasim, who's the Palestinian militant, up top, and I think Scanlon, who's played by Roy, is right there in the middle, and of course, the third being my Mexicano asesino, which is look, listener, Michelle's giving me some eyes right now, and I'm just like, what?
I'm not.
And I'm like, yo, this show is about being horny. So those are the main guys, and every single one of them has something happen to them.
Yes. The film opens with a series of prologues for all of them where we get the basics of who these men are, what they've done, and what has brought them to a very poor town that is in a country that is unnamed but is run by some sort of a fascist-seeming dictator, and where the only jobs for most people are for an American oil company whose logo is awfully reminiscent of the Nazi Black Eagle crest.
Yeah, it's a weird-looking situation. It's just like, why is there an American company in the middle of nowhere, Central America, where like the dredges of society land in, because each of these guys have something happen to them where they lose their status in their individual pieces, whether that is running away from some of the crimes you did as a crime boss, or running away because you kind of stole money or mishandled funds that you were in charge of, and so on. And it's a weird situation because it's almost like the funnel of the disparate parts of the world that are trying to get something all funnel into this one place, all funneled directly into the ground of nothingness, of depth. And subsequently, I think thematically, that's why oil and oil extraction is part of this, because you have to go down, down, down to get oil.
Yes, and you see this town that, people living in abject poverty, as all the wealth that this area would have is being taken out by this exploitative American company that clearly doesn't give a damn about any of the people involved.
It barely gives a damn about themselves. Like the something happens to this company. A well gets gets exploded and gets lit up, and so it is
by rebels.
Yeah, its production is reduced to zero, and so that leads directly to these guys trying to find a solution. And part of that solution is just an explosive to be able to like blow out the candle that is the oil fire. Before they go on to get these four guys, they try to like recruit their own dudes to move things, and none of them want to do it. The helicopter driver doesn't want to do it, and no company person wants to do this work.
Yes, and it's explained that they can't let it keep burning, that they can't advertise that it was blown up by rebels, or else it would make the rebels heroes, and that for every day that the fire is burning, that's money lost for the company, to the point where like it could require them to pull out of this country should it keep burning long enough.
And this is the introduction to the other theme that we're going to really get into, which is coercion. The company is coercing the boss of this oil field to put some people into danger for the sake of profit. And also every one of the four guys that like ends up driving the nitroglycerin is effectively coerced into doing this dangerous work because they need money in a place where only one organization provides money, and that's the oil company.
Yeah, and the pay is dreadful. Like it's pointed out at different points that these characters can't make enough money to get out, even if they want to. Like they could save forever, and it wouldn't make anything close to a difference that would allow them to escape this town. Like they could stop eating and keep saving, and it still wouldn't be enough. There's a character who says that who owns a workers' hotel who says that he could sell his house, but who would he sell it to, and how much would that actually generate? Not much.
Nothing, because it's a company town. A company runs everything. They're the law, they're the state, they're your prom date, they're everything. And so I want to talk about the spectacle in this movie. And I want to talk about some of the set pieces because this is a long movie, but it is divided through different spectacles. And the first one I want to get into is the car crash that happens in New Jersey. Mm-hmm. Scanlon is robbing these guys, and his crew is full of dummies and people that he cannot trust, but were coerced into the same thing, a life of crime for that sweet moolah. And one of them shoots a guy, threatens to shoot a guy, and then all hell breaks loose and bah, right into a truck. Not our hero trucks, maybe like an NPC truck.
Yes. These are four Irish-American crooks, including Scheider's character. And they are robbing a church that is mobbed up during a wedding. And you pointed out, it's very hard to miss, that something very prominently featured is that we see the wedding cross-cut with the robbery, and we notice the bride has a black eye. In fact, the camera, Friedkin is known for his use of documentary-esque realism for a lot of his shooting, and the camera zooms when we get a full shot of her to see her face and to see the terrible conditions that people are living in this community.
And the priest, no mention of it. The husband, no mention of it. No one knows who gave this bride a black eye. But
I would assume we can assume probably either her soon-to-be husband or her father or something.
Someone that needs her to go through this. The same way that Schneider and his crew needed to rob this place to just get a little bit of cash. But this, you talk about the documentary style. That car crash is so scary because it's so palpable. It's so ugh.
Yeah, it's one character in the back seat wants to be a tough guy to the guy in the passenger seat, and it distracts Scheider long enough that the car flips over and everyone is dead from this other than Scheider, who's in pretty bad shape. And it's I know it's one of the many stunts that Friedkin had done in multiple takes to get it looking just dangerous enough. And
and he did it.
Well, yes, Friedkin was, for all of the good points about him, he was also someone who was known for his, we'll say lax attitude towards safety in his early films. Something that he was somewhat self-critical of in later interviews of I never should have done that, but also clearly got off a little bit on regaling people with his stories of being a bit of a bad boy.
Oh, and you know what? I have been regaled. I have been successfully regaled because the car crash. I don't the different angles that it's filmed in. It makes this very cohesive, very impactful scene. And seeing Schneider like crawl out into this like rain from the fire hydrant is so dramatic.
He's stumbling about. I mean, Scheider is a great physical performer, and always has been. Whether it's something subtle like, his eyes looking like they're gonna bug out, but not quite, in the famous dolly zoom in Jaws, to something like very intensely physical, like his performance in All That Jazz. And here we get to see someone who's, it's not like an extremely showy performance, but it's very intense. You see this guy whose nerves are being frayed over the course of the movie, who's getting more and more frantic.
And he does it well. One of the things that I really enjoyed about his acting is the physicality. Throughout the entire thing, he is when he's washing himself or when he is whacking at vines in the middle of the jungle.
He's wailing on it. He's going wild in that scene.
He has a paycheck and he is earning it. And I like it. I really like this scene of this car crash because I think it just fits everything into one scene where the characters have been coerced into doing something. Something happens. It happens that we talk about in the miniseries. And then he has to live with the rest of it. And in this case, and what this movie is about, being the loss of status, he has been brought down from being a mobster that is very well dressed, I will say. He is wearing this leather jacket in the nighttime scene before he leaves, where I'm just like, bro, where is that from? Who's your stylist, brother? Drop the ad.
Yeah, and it's certainly a big contrast with our very next scene, seeing him like in the dirt in this very rough neighborhood, in this in abject poverty, and just looking like shit. Like everyone in this town looks like they've basically they have nothing. Even like washing your face seems difficult.
And something happens here, something that I want to like really mention throughout this, which is he goes by a new name, Juan Dominguez. And I think there's something to note about the loss of status of all these characters. Every single one of these characters starts using a Latin American name.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's something to be said about the fact that Schneider and Cremer... both being white and having to use Latin American names, I think that there's something to be said about how that is a loss of status for the white man too.
I think there's a lot of truth in that. These, particularly Cremer, is he's a character who I think it's implied may have come from, like, I don't think he came from wealth. I can't remember the name of the town he came from, but it's. He talks about how when he first met his wife, and his wife and his brother-in-law, and we never see his father-in-law, but it's implied like these are the people with the real money.
Yeah,
and the fact that this guy can drive these massive trucks at all, I think, implies that he probably did not come from money initially.
And he's laboring in the like pipelines of the oil derricks.
Yes.
That like I don't know any like stock trader that like knows how to throw a wrench, let alone fix a pipeline.
Yeah. So there is a real loss of status with this guy. I mean, when he's in the town, we see him trying to pawn off the last possession he has, which is a really beautiful watch that his wife gave to him on the last day that he saw her. It says something along to the effect of, "Here's to 10 years of an eternity with you."
Yeah.
And he's willing to get rid of to give this away if it means that he can get out of this place. And he's told that the watch isn't going to be enough.
Which is like a straight lie. This is another part of the coercion, right? He's talking to a fixer in this Central American country. And that fixer's just like taking him for a loop. He is swindling him.
And while this is happening with him, we see Roy Scheider, Juan Dominguez, as he's called, being hassled by these fascist troops who put him in a jail for a little while and say, "You don't look like Juan Dominguez. You definitely aren't Juan Dominguez. You don't even speak Spanish." And in order for him to get his identification card back so he can work, he has to agree that a percentage of the money he makes, which I'll say again is not a lot, is going to go toward these men.
And that is, oof. I mean, Friedkin, he's going Friedkin mode on these themes and the way that they're represented both in the dialogue and the characteristics of each scene. As a theme freak, I love it.
And I appreciate that Friedkin is also someone who, in this film in particular, wants to carry a lot of these ideas through imagery rather than through dialogue. I had read that he cut a good chunk of the dialogue that was in the initial cut to make sure that the images were primarily what was telling the story, and I think this is very effective. I love how you're able to see the contrast between all the mud and the dirt and the grime and these lush jungles, like the lush green jungles. When we first see the oil fire, you see, I think it's a helicopter shot that is going over these beautiful trees in this very verdant green. And then you see just the earth belching fire toward the sky.
And we're better for it. We're so much better for it. You told me about him cutting dialogue, and I'm like, he cut dialogue for this. That was a masterful move. I don't want to suck this guy off too much, right? But I really enjoy when a movie actively treats the viewer as a sapient creature that can look at A, B, and then consider C.
Yes, who can put two and two together and allow us to infer a lot from the bits and pieces of these characters' backgrounds that we do see.
And that's why the visuals are so important. Going back to Crimea, who is going by Serrano when he's in the Central American country, there's a specific montage that happens once once the fire starts, once they need to get the nitroglycerin, and once they need to recruit people. There's this scene of arming the trucks, and Serrano is actively testing things. He is cranking things into place. He's a real mechanic, and that's how we can tell that he probably comes from a more working class background. Not just through the dialogue earlier about who's the guarantor of the loans.
And he's clawed his way up to the top and lost that very precipitously. And all these characters who have been selected to drive because they have some form of driving experience. Scanlon says that he used to drive a Greyhound. I imagine he found the life of crime a little more lucrative than that. And one of the other characters who lost status is one of the initially selected drivers. There are two German characters in this town, one of whom is a bartender and the other of whom I mentioned owns the workers' hotel and who says that he would sell his house if he could get any money for it, but he really can't. It is implied that both of these German characters are hiding for the reason that a lot of Germans were hiding in South or Central America, which is they are former Nazis.
Yeah, they literally call them her, and her might be an honorific, but it's a choice that like these English speaking or Spanish speaking people go directly into calling some of these German characters her, and I kind of hate these guys. I kind of hate them not just because I hate Nazis. I kind of hate these guys because they're nothing. The bartender specifically, I just hate the service he gives. At one point, wiping the silverware on his shirt. I'm like, bro, you're already a Nazi. At least keep my shit clean. I am yelling so much.
But yes, we do see you've talked a bit about how this movie's interest in labor, and we do see the four initially selected drivers basically put these trucks together to be able to use them. And I do think it's interesting that not too long after they're talking to the main oil guy, and they note that, well, you only need one case of dynamite to put out this fire, but you've got 6 cases and 2 trucks. That means you think one of us isn't going to make it. We want more money. And like they organize to get that. They negotiate.
They flip the coercion script, and they're like, it looks like we're in a position of power, and we're gonna get that sweet doula.
Position of power is certainly relative when you're going on what's effectively a suicide mission. But yes, they are the only ones who can do this.
I did like when Schneider was like, "What are we? Some sort of suicide squad?" It is nice to see how like labor is represented in this. Every single problem that is met by these 4 characters is resolved through labor. There is nothing magical. There's nothing even ideological being presented as a solution. It is all labor. And one of the set scenes outside of the arming the trucks is this log scene where the drivers are already on the way. They already have negotiated for some better pay, some hazard pay, but no PPE. It was the 70s. And they reach a terminus. There's a log in the middle of the road, and they can't get past it.
It's a massive tree, a massive fallen tree.
A gigantic tree that Schneider's just like, we just need to take down 4 trees. 1 tree is not enough to take it down. But if we take down 4 trees and we drive on the water, we could get past it. He is going mad.
Yeah, and Creme and Whipall are telling him absolutely no way that will work. And they're correct. There is no way that will work. And it's Kassem, who is a demolitions expert, who sees we can blow this stump out of the road and get past it.
He has a light bulb moment, and that light bulb blows a fuse, and he's like, "Oh, explosions!"
And the way you see these guys work together under Kassem's direction to build this brilliant contraption to blow this thing up is pretty remarkable. Like the amount of detail that goes into how they are going to get this thing out of the way.
And it's effectively dialogueless. There's some dialogue, but it's not explaining to the viewer what's happening. It's the characters talking to each other to resolve a problem.
Yes. Though it is very funny how they actually created that special effect. Friedkin has told this story about how all the special effects people that he had hired were having a lot of trouble getting the desired effect, getting rid of this like massive tree. And Friedkin called up a mob-connected guy that he knew with the nickname of Marvin the Torch, who used to use like combinations of beauty products to like blow places up for arson, like for insurance fraud.
Nice.
And Friedkin has this guy flown out to the Dominican Republic where they're filming to destroy this thing. And I mean, it turns this massive real tree into a bunch of splinters.
Yeah, you need a mobbed up guy in your squad. You need a guy that knows explosives, who knows how to take lipstick and make it into an explosive in your squad.
Certainly, if you're trying to clear this thing out of the way.
If you're a cinema auteur, you need to get yourself a man that knows how to take eyeliner and blow up a gigantic tree.
I believe it was also the mob ties that helped Friedkin get into filming in some of the gay clubs and cruising. One of his next films, since a lot of those clubs were owned by the mafia.
I'm only hearing upsides.
Yes, nothing could possibly go wrong with this.
You think Ryan Coogler's out there running around trying to like make mob ties just to make an even better movie next time?
I imagine the circumstances have changed.
Do you think Nicholas Wallen Refn's out there being like, "Oh, I'm an auteur filmmaker. What if I just joined the Swedish house mafia?"
This is a complete side note, but it is very funny. You can look up William Friedkin and Nicholas Winding Refn for a great video of Friedkin giving Nicholas Winding Refn shit.
And well deserved.
Just like very, very making fun of him for calling one of his own movies a masterpiece.
And you know what? If a man like Friedkin's telling you that, you might want to listen. Like the filmography that he has, you kinda need to know your place.
Well, he definitely had some bad movies, and he was an inveterate shit talker and bullshitter, but very entertaining. His interviews.
I'm only hearing upsides. And so, like, this log scene is where Kasim really shows like how his knowledge, his experience can resolve this. And it's just all done through like such simple dialogue. And the thing that I like the most is they're kind of comparing pockets and pocket sizes. And you're kind of like, why are they doing this? And you don't know why. And then eventually, when the explosive is set, this pocket is filled up with sand and gets popped, so it slowly starts releasing the sand inside it, so it becomes a time released explosive. And this is where like I literally fell in love with the movie. I had already liked the movie, but the way that this movie treated me like I had a second hemisphere in my skull, like I loved it. I wanted to kiss it. I wanted to kiss this movie at that moment.
I'm glad you had the reaction you did.
It's just good. It's good. I also think that this like it just provides like a real sense of how movies used to be, or at least how some movies were allowed to be, versus what it is now, where like we both watched Superman last year.
Yeah.
And Superman was nice.
Wasn't my thing.
Superman, though, just happened to be a movie that just let you know both visually and verbally what was happening at all times.
There is definitely a lack of trust in the moviegoer in a lot of modern filmmaking, whether it's because there's the Netflix rule of you always need to have someone explaining what's happening because people are on their phones, or just a general hesitancy toward toward non-franchise movies, toward non-pre-existing intellectual property, that definitely set in as the kind of movies that Friedkin and many of his contemporaries in the 60s, 70s New Hollywood movement favored. And this is another side note, as we were talking about oil. So this was released by Paramount, and as Friedkin, known for being very combative with studio executives, was having a hell of a time on this movie. The oilmen are talking about the need to put out the fire, and there's a photo of a bunch of oil executives on the wall.
Yeah.
Those oil executives were the board of Gulf and Western, the oil company that owned Paramount. It was Friedkin giving a big fuck you. And I think that's also, just as a side note, not an inconsiderable reason why some of these movies ended up falling out of favor. It's not just a matter of, oh, George Lucas makes Star Wars, Steven Spielberg makes Jaws. It's a lot of these studios that had... had to trust some of the filmmakers to tell their stories because they, the old guard of the studio were no longer knew what people wanted. As a lot of these companies were purchased by larger corporations, Columbia being purchased by Coca-Cola, or Paramount being purchased by Gulf and Western, there is a reassertion of a sort of executive mentality.
It's coercion. Textually and metatextually, coercion is a big part of this. You make me feel bad about being a rich oil executive? Well, guess what, buddy? You're not going to get any advertising money for your little pro-environment movie.
Yeah, and it's funny. I'm not sure if Friedkin would have discussed it that way, but what movie? Very few movies make the extractive process of oil look as hellish as this one does.
And it's so hellish. It makes you understand that the extractive nature of oil is an assault on nature itself.
It's further underlined by this wonderful score by Tangerine Dream that is laying on these absolutely ungodly organs whenever we see the oil fire.
It's the fire itself becomes sublime at certain points. It's so sublime that Schneider walks towards the fire once he's the final survivor of delivering the nitroglycerin. But there is just this sense of sublimity there, and I really like that. And I also like how it makes it not a natural wonder, like all the jungle, all the river that we see from the DR. It becomes something supernatural, something outside of nature.
Absolutely.
And it looks damn good on screen.
It does, yeah.
I want to talk about the oil a little bit more. And I want to talk about how labor fits into that. We have 2 trucks. What are the names of those 2 trucks?
They are Sorcerer, that is driven by Creme and Kassem. I gave an actor name and a character name there, but we'll go with it. And there is Lazarus, which has Roy Scheider and Francisco Rabal's characters in it.
Yeah. And I find those 2 names telling about how this is there's a anti-oil bent and a pro-labor bent to this movie. Sorcerer is a A sorcerer is someone who has access to like powers beyond nature. Someone that could transmute matter from one thing into another. Someone that has a connection to the beyond within the realm of humanity. In Lazarus, which is like written in Spanish on the truck, Lázaro,
That's right.
is the character that Christ brings back from the dead. Happy Easter, yo. This was recorded a couple of days before Easter. But
Recorded on Good Friday.
Yeah. Keep Christ in your heart, people. This podcast, anti-truck, pro-Christ. What a turn. We got Friedkin style politics all over the place. And Lazarus is a character that represents redemption, that represents a source, an avenue to come back to life. And these trucks are both those things for all four characters. They all lost status. And through these two trucks, they could gain something back. They could go from the dead space that is this hellish town in the middle of nowhere to maybe being able to go back to a place of normalcy, a place of the living, New Jersey.
Yeah. It is interesting as we're talking about labor, like there's certainly some contradictions in what the movie is presenting, which is a need for these characters to work together, to come together, to be able to accomplish this thing, that to lead to their possible redemption or resurrection, and also the realities of how this movie was made, both under unsafe conditions and Friedkin being a bit of a tyrant on set, not necessarily very fired a lot of crew members, not to mention a lot of people getting sick during the filming of this.
It's a contradiction in the textual and metatextual concepts of this movie. And let's take a step further and say why am I interested in talking about this in the It miniseries? And why am I interested in highlighting labor in it? And the truth is, like, oftentimes people forget that you're going to have to labor to a sense of freedom or a sense of, like, equality with people that you don't like. Mm-hmm. That person never has to be a Nazi, which the movie textually says, yeah.
That character being, unceremoniously removed is certainly... It's notable. It's notable.
And it just shows that, like, when you have lost your status, the thing that you thought you deserved or you even worked hard to earn, you can lose it all, but it can all be regained, or something can be regained with collaboration, with putting in effort collectively.
Yes, potentially. It could always go wrong, but there's no possibility of anything without it. And I think it is interesting that I know Friedkin talked about a couple of things that are takeaways for the movie, and one of the ideas that he put out there was the idea that the people of the world need to come together, need to work together, or else face oblivion, which certainly is something we see here. But there's also the possibility of, Sorcerer can refer to a few different things, but it can also refer to, like, the hands of fate. The possibility of, with a flick of the wrist, fate can take everything away. With, no matter how hard you work, no matter how hard things build up, it is possible that that can all be for naught, that can end up being taken away from you, that just at a moment's notice, it's all over for you.
And this is where, like, a Sorcerer really comes in with, once again, showing that. Because this movie ends with the mobsters coming back for Schneider. They arrive to the same one oil derrick town that he's been hiding in to try to find him. It's just a twist of fate. How did they find him? How did they know he was here? How did it happen as soon as he found some form of salvation, some form of resurrection?
Well, one of the people who comes out is the person who helped him get out of the country. Mm-hmm. So there's that betrayal.
And I want to bring in the Janelle Monáe episode of Dirty Computer. If Dirty Computer was all about how you don't have to wait for the world to change or for the massive change to happen, like this movie is about how when that massive change happens, you can find your way out of it, maybe. But you have to be willing to do it. And if you're never willing to do it, you will only ever be in that secondary place, that sunken place.
And yet, this is it's a very downbeat movie. It does end on a very fatalistic note because it's a movie that suggests like, yes, you have to work together, but it is possible. It's over for you. Like these are these characters who end up in a like borderline purgatorial situation only to find out that, well, it's possible you're not in purgatory. It's possible you're in hell. It's possible it's just all over for you.
It's just punishment. Yeah, I mean, we can only go so far with the commentary, right? Because it's still fundamentally a movie. And it's fundamentally a way of describing how we can move beyond what is expected of us. Even if that is done through coercion.
But in terms,
do you disagree? You just
no, I don't disagree. But it is definitely a movie that I come away feeling just, oh fuck, yeah, they maybe never had a chance at all. And you can't live your life like that. You always have to live your life like there is a possibility, but you never know. You are not in full control of your destiny.
Yeah. Unlike the people here in Dove Weather, we control all destiny. Ooh, you're wondering who's the sorcerer, who's the Lazaro in this? You know who's who.
Yeah, if we had been in that situation, we would have been able to cross that bridge with no trouble, which I'm bringing up because we have to talk about the bridge crossing scene.
We must. It is
one of the scariest things I've ever seen in a movie.
It's also so beautiful, like truly.
Yeah, there's a scene in the movie in which the characters on these massive trucks filled with unstable dynamite have to cross a rope bridge that looks like it wouldn't hold a child crossing it, let alone a massive truck crossing
with
over
planks ripped up, with like
rotten wood
over a gigantic river that is as mean as anything else.
And as this huge rainstorm is happening, like practically hurricane winds and rain.
And this is after after both trucks split up, one of them thinking they know the better route, only for them to realize, no, it's the hard one that you have to go through. And we see this twice. We see both trucks go over this. The first one being Schneider and Ravel. And Schneider says at one point, "You're gonna help me get over this bridge. You're gonna guide me."
Yeah, and Rabal, as we've seen up to this point, like he's a hitman. He's a terrifying figure and very menacing. And he sees this bridge and he like goes white as a sheet. He looks absolutely like, no fucking way am I going across this. And yes, he is forced to be like in front of the truck on like his hands and knees, guiding the truck to ensure a safe path.
Mm-hmm. I will say though, it's two peers.
Yes.
It's maybe an assassin versus a crook, but both of them use violence to produce their revenue, their wage of fear. Mm-hmm. And I just find it very interesting that both of them do it. They just do it. They do it through pain and the suffering of it, and then eventually use the wench to get out of it. But I just like how poetic it is with them doing it in a very difficult way, but only for the second truck to come, the Sorcerer truck to come, and they just have a terrible time.
Yeah, I believe it's the second truck that uses the wench, because the first truck is able to get through it, but the second truck, among other things, like it's stuck on wood. There's this massive tree that comes and pins one of them down.
Chasm.
No, it pins Crimea down. Chasm falls through like a rotten wooden plank into the water. And you see him later on when he's trying to get that log out of the way with an explosion. Like, he is limping. He is looking like he's, taking some wear and tear from this terrible experience. You really see how much this weighs on the bodies of people.
And there's some like techniques here that are being used. It looks like Friedkin really enjoys like a wet scene.
This is a very sweaty movie.
It's very sweaty and very wet. There's a lot of rain happening. And I think there's also like an overlay of rain, right? Because it's not real rain that like connects with the people, but it seems to be like increasing the drama just by adding this overlay of rain.
Mm-hmm. It makes it more dangerous, more likely that this bridge could snap at any point.
And if we've learned anything this episode, is Friedkin's going to try to find a way to make things more dangerous.
Often on set, this one included.
I think this bridge scene is also famous because it's on the poster.
Yes.
It's also the thing that like I knew about before watching this movie. Where it's like this major scene on a bridge, and once it got to it, I was already like both arms pumping, just being like, yes, movie, yes. And then when this came in, I went silent. I was arrested with the individual drama of just moving one truck from one place to another.
Yeah.
And once again, nothing, like, we know that there's danger because of the explosive there, but it is, and somehow just knowing that this rickety bridge is a phantom of death is way scarier. Yeah, I totally forgot about the damn explosives in the truck when this was happening.
Yeah, because there are other elements that are wearing down on them. Like, it's one of a handful of different points where it looks like they're practically descending into Hades. Like, between that and the later scene of Scheider and Rabal driving through these canyons, and they're both like white as ghosts. And you've got these impositions of Scheider's face over these canyons and being cut with all these memories of these the things that have brought him here, and also just visions of like blood flowing through the hills over like dead comrades' watches. It's
spooky.
It's very spooky. It's a movie that, as time has gone on, I The Exorcist still scares me, but this one scares me more.
It's what's called a catabasis, a plunge into the underworld for the sake of growth. And this whole movie is a catabasis. And like, of course, Friedkin uses like Christian imagery, and of course, he uses even just revolutionary imagery to describe this plunge into nothingness for the sake of growth. And this is a grim movie because, like, for all of this hellishness, Schneider gets no relief. He gets nothing. He gets some money in the form of a cashier's check.
Yeah, and he had made a deal for cash, and he notes right away like that it's useless to him except if they take him, I guess, to their specific private bank.
I imagine myself in this situation, and maybe not. Like I don't know. I think I might have just tried walking into the jungle. Like honestly, like what? How is walking into the jungle worse than what they're going through? I want to ask you something.
Yes.
Is this a pro-environment movie?
I don't know whether Friedkin had any intention towards that. He's someone who was not big on necessarily saying that he's putting a message into his movies, but very much someone who wanted an audience to take what they got out of it. But it is one where it's hard for me to watch without coming away with a feeling of, what we are doing to the earth is absolutely destroying it, and a need for these terribly wealthy companies to no longer have the control that they have.
Right. I think it is, and I don't want to spend too much time in it, but I do find it like interesting that the trucks, the Sorcerer and Lazarus, are big, monster-y looking trucks. Lazarus literally having teeth as grills, and they become even more monstrous with like this nitroglycerin being added to their beds, so they're even more explosive, and they're being used to like these hellhounds that are going to go resolve an issue of fire. And I think this is a pro environment movie because it's an anti-oil movie, an anti-car movie. And for that, I give it more props.
My cat is looking at my notes, helping me out with any points that I need to make.
It wouldn't be a Dove Weather episode unless there was a cat getting in the way. And this one is not Nomi, it is
Joni, my cat.
But I mean, Nomi is one of the doves. Joni's just here as a guest.
Yeah, I will note one thing I saw glancing at my notes is that the French banker before he goes off gives a letter to the oil man to send to his wife, and at the end the oil man hands it to Roy Scheider to mail. Like, here, can you do this for me?
Just pawning off work.
Yeah, a letter that we know by the end is not going to be delivered to anyone.
Yeah.
So this man is likely to disappear without any sign of what happened to him for his wife.
We didn't cover too much Wages of Fear because that's a whole nother movie and it deserves its own like conversation. I will say in Wages of Fear there is one character that delivers a note to another character where we know that that character is doomed. The same way that Creamer or Serrano, which is like the start of a good recipe. You want a Serrano, chili, and cream. It will never get to have their letter delivered. But with that, Michelle, we here at Dove Weather, we have a little segment where we talk about maybe a grim movie, about grim topics. But we always want to end it on a nice note, a good note, a note of hope, or any positive thing being derived from in your life right now. So, Michelle, what is bringing you hope?
I have a lot of people around me who care about me very much and who make life worth living.
Nice. This is when I fish for a compliment.
Of course, you're one of them, Alex. Of course.
Ladies and gentlemen and non-binary pals, have a podcast to force people to be nice to you. The thing that is bringing me hope in a way that I actually have not realized, but if you've been following my TikToks, you may have like figured it out. It's The Pit. The Pit is just a good show that has been really giving me life. It really been giving me like this positive emotion because I am just seeing real acting happening, real production happening, a real like joy for the craft being presented. And as someone who like wants that in every single piece of art, I really am happy that I can point to one and say, look at The Pit. The Pit is being produced and written by people that know what they're talking about, being written and produced by people that want to see multiculturalness being presented. There was even a live dub, but it was still an ice episode and an anti-ice episode at that. And I just like it. I like it because I can say it's real. Whatever narrative you think that Ted Sarandos is weaving right now, The Pit can slash it open and say, there's more.
The Pit is excellent. I need to catch up with last night's episode.
It's a good one. Well, Michelle, where can the good people of Dove Weatherland find you if they wanna? I don't know, maybe give you money or a Trisket or a follow and a like.
I don't know about money or a Trisket, but you can certainly find me on Letterboxd at Apply No Rules. I hopefully will have some pieces that I will have written that I will be sharing there in the coming months. So we'll see how that goes.
I will be linking those below in the description. And if you are listening to this when those pieces are released, they are linked below too. You can find... Thank you, Michelle, for being on the show. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to come on.
If you are interested in dove weather and more dove weather and to see my little face and Marcy's little face and Nomi's little face, you can follow Dove Weather on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube, or you can just find us on the hidden folder of your mom's phone. We're everywhere at Dove Weather. Thank you for listening. Bye.
Bye.